This video is sponsored by Incogni. Are you ready for the next transit revolution? This is not a car.
This is not a car.
This is a
Vehicle.
Level 5 autonomy.
Level 5 autonomy.
Scalable.
Scalable?
The new robo-taxi from Zoox, owned by Amazon.
Wow. What the f?
Is this the solution to our traffic problems? Will Amazon revolutionize transit in our cities? Of course they won't. This is an incredibly stupid, impractical and dangerous idea. It's so dumb, in fact, that even Elon Musk came up with it some time ago. So what's wrong with this project? What is wrong with flooding cities with autonomous pods owned by Amazon to solve traffic? Let's find out. Their stated goal with this project is surprisingly progressive. They want to change Americans' attitude towards car ownership.
Personal car ownership, something that is ingrained in the psyche of this nation. And we're challenging that openly and proudly because we think that the benefits for society and every single one of us outweigh the, I want to be able to have as many cars as I want or as I feel like.
The idea is for people to not have to own a car because they'll have access to quality transit in the form of their robo-taxis. And this is all well and good, but we're talking about Amazon here. And when giant corporations offer to make your wishes come true, you better be careful. Chances are it's not a wish-granting genie, but a monkey spa, available on Amazon for $18.72. In popular culture, the monkey spa is an item that will grant you 3 wishes, but with unexpected, horrifying consequences as punishment for tampering with fate. So we wish on Amazon to fix traffic in our cities. What could go wrong with that? What could go wrong with putting Amazon in control of our urban transportation? In the Zoox promotional material, they say that you won't have to buy a car yourself. You'll just have to pay for the individual rides. And the city would be full of autonomous Zoox taxis constantly circulating, so you can just order one at any time. This would free up a ton of space currently used for parking lots, and we could have narrower streets, more parks and so on. So the wish is made, the monkey's paw curls, and Amazon now owns every single vehicle in your city. But rides are super cheap. A bit too cheap. So cheap, in fact, that every other taxi and public transit service gradually goes bankrupt and out of business, giving Amazon a complete monopoly over transit. Once that's done, they can hike the prices back up even higher than what the competition used to offer while they existed, so now Amazon can turn massive profits. This also poses problems with social accessibility. In the promo material, they stress how they want to serve underprivileged neighborhoods currently not served by public transit.
Transportation is a big deal in terms of access to knowledge, access to freedom, independence, and just things. There are areas right now that are not served well. Our goal, and this is something that's particularly important to me, is for this vehicle to go to all areas of a city.
And this sounds very nice, but there's a problem. A massive contradiction in the form of Amazon wanting to provide a public service while also being a profit-oriented corporation. And you can't have it both ways here. It's one or the other. See, a big reason why enterprising businessmen tend not to set up transit services in disadvantaged areas is because there is not much money to be made there. Revenue is lower, crime and vandalism are a bigger problem, and so on. And cities usually solve this by cooperating with police and social services, having security personnel ride along on riskier routes, tweaking streetlights to eliminate dark areas around stops, putting up cameras, getting rid of bushes so that no one can jump you at night. There are many ways to help disadvantaged areas get a practical and safe transit service. And Amazon has absolutely no inclination or obligation to do any of them. Nor do they have any to safeguard your personal data. Thank God that Incogni, the sponsor of today's video, protects your privacy by reaching out to holders of your personal information, like Jeff Bezos, on your behalf and requesting their removal. Okay, maybe they won't be writing to Jeff Bezos himself, but you get the idea. This personal data ranges from your full legal name, phone number, date of birth, home address, or even patterns of movement in your city. The process of removal is fully automated. Unlike robo-taxis, once launched, it does not require any further input from you. Unlike robo-taxis, Incogni will be dealing with holders of your personal information on your behalf. This is to prevent you giving out your contact information somewhere for it to get sold off, so you start receiving unwanted marketing or even scam calls. Or someone orders 50 robo-taxis to your house in the morning to sabotage your commute. Or if some website with your personal data on it gets breached, then someone takes out a loan under your name and identity. That's not good. This is where Incogni comes in, or rather before all this happens, by handling personal data removal on your behalf. First, create an account and specify whose data they'll be requesting to remove. Second, you grant Incogni permission to act on your behalf. They'll be contacting holders of your personal information to get it wiped from their databases. Third, kick back and relax, something you would never dare to do in a robotaxi, and watch Incogni handle all that work for you. You'll be able to keep track of their progress live on their website. Don't let your personal data get into the wrong hands. The first 100 people to use the code something at the link below will get 60% off Incogni. Thank you for checking out Incogni. They helped me pay my public transit pass. Now where was I? Right. So what would end up happening is the Zoox robotaxis are sent out across the city where in the rich areas they turn a consistent profit, but in the poor areas revenue would be lower and the cars would constantly get smashed up, graffitied, equipment would be stolen and so on. At that point Amazon would just start blacklisting neighborhoods and not run any services there. So dear residents of District 12, due to recent vandalism to our robotaxis, your district will be deprived of transit as collective punishment. Best of luck getting to work. The thing is, these cute, sleek, modern robotaxis are well suited for safe, upper-middle-class neighborhoods where everyone travels in clean, dry clothes all the time, there is virtually no crime, the roads are smooth and properly signposted. As soon as you go below that, you start having problems. For example, there are so many creative ways to rob people in this thing. On a tram or a bus, robbing people is difficult. The lines usually go along busy areas where it's hard to disappear, the driver might call the police and try to lock you in, but most importantly, other passengers will likely try to stop you or run after you, sharing your location with the police. In the Zoox robotaxis, all you need is 2 of your buddies who are in on the plan. The 3 of you get in next to an unsuspecting passenger, then, when the time is right, take everything they have at knife point, pry open the doors and run off into the night. Or if that's too risky, you can just wait for a single passenger robotaxi to pass a badly lit area where you roll out a trash container or something in front of it. When it stops, you can just run up, open the door with a crowbar and rob the passenger at gunpoint. Would Amazon then invest into unbreakable glass, prying-resistant safety doors and a security detail to monitor risky areas? Of course not. They would just stop running robotaxis in poor areas because that's the most financially sound option. So from a social perspective, the Zoox robotaxi is a complete failure. In the US, they would basically become the white middle-class express in a spectacular return of corporate and forced segregation. And that's simply because Amazon does not care about public services or social equality. Like all corporations, they only care about money. And if the crime problem wasn't bad enough already, we haven't even talked about acts of vandalism and sabotage. What if you order a taxi at 2 AM and find that the person before you threw up on the seats? What if someone lets their dog shit inside every robotaxi they travel in? What if you wait 20 minutes for your robotaxi to show up and then find the seats dirty, wet, covered in glass shards and so on? You'll likely be able to report the problem and send the car back to the depot or something, but then you'll have to wait another 20 minutes for the next one. What if that won't be clean either? Better yet, what if people deliberately sabotage the system by flinging dirt into the passenger compartment when the doors open, throw rocks at it, damage the cameras on top, puncture the tires when they're charging on the street, start a fire under the battery compartment? Once Amazon sweeps through the area, I imagine there will be plenty of former taxi drivers and public transit employees eager to express their opinion of Amazon in very practical and creative ways. Also, the robotaxis will inevitably be used as porn movie sets, just something to keep in mind if we're being realistic. This robotaxi system just won't work in the real world. Come to think of it, it's a prime example of elite projection. The belief among relatively fortunate and influential people that what those people find convenient and attractive is good for society as a whole. The Zoox CEO, Aisha Evans, can talk about accessibility and equality all she wants, but she's not like you or me. She's part of the West Coast corporate managerial class, raking in 6-figure salaries and apparently 7-figure bonuses. And would you look at that, this millionaire corporate manager thinks the future of transportation is putting everyone inside tiny, rolling VIP lounges. Another aspect the Zoox robotaxi fails at is scalability. I know they say scalable in the beginning, but that's just not true. Like with all futuristic bullshit transit ideas, these things can transport a very small number of people, 4 passengers in this case, which is less than the average car. And this is a problem. Think of morning rush hour, where hundreds of thousands of people are trying to get into the city within a few hours. In Budapest, for example, the M3 metro alone has 400,000 passengers boarding it on every single workday. Let's assume it breaks down to 200,000 in the morning and in the evening. Now let's take the Zoox robotaxis. Let's suppose an average occupancy of 2 per vehicle. By contrast, the average automobile occupancy is 1.5, so we're being charitable. So in order to move 200,000 people to work in the morning, the robotaxis would need to make 100,000 trips. Let's say they have 3 hours to do so between 6 and 9 AM, with the average trip taking half an hour. So assuming no delays or complications, one robotaxi could make 6 trips every morning. So to have the same passenger capacity as a single metro line in Budapest, you would need more than 16,000 robotaxis circulating in just this single direction. And the M3 metro isn't isn't even the largest operation with its 400,000 passengers. The tram network carries 930,000 and the bus network 1.2 million. And Budapest accomplishes this with 1,200 buses, 320 trams and 75 metro trains. Now compare this to the 16,000 robo-taxis needed just for the M3 line. Now that's what I call
scalable.
Let's also talk briefly about self-driving. In their promotional materials, they state that the thing has
Level 5 autonomy.
Their evidence for this? They self-certified it. That's very reassuring. So what's next? We're looking forward to our next step of obtaining a permit to operate our purpose-built vehicles on public roads in California. And if you've been reading the news at all, self-driving cars on the roads of California have been a great success so far. And by that I mean a non-stop disaster show.
You've probably seen them on social media. Videos going viral of driverless taxis in San Francisco causing traffic jams.
This is what our country's come to.
And as the frustrations grow, the oversight seems to be on its own jerky ride.
This Level 5 autonomy bullshit is some clever piece of marketing from Zoox. Level 5 implies some advanced technology never before seen. In reality, Level 5 just means there is no steering wheel or pedals, making the vehicle potentially fully autonomous since human physical input is impossible. That doesn't mean at all that the vehicle can actually safely self-drive, but apparently neither Zoox nor San Francisco cares. And no, driving around an empty parking lot, half of it while using a controller, is not an impressive engineering feat. I don't think we will ever have full self-driving, to be honest. I don't think it's possible. Our roads are just too complex, there are too many variables, obstacles, situations, which is something you cannot really prepare a program for. Zook's solution to this is to just use their cars to map the entire city. This is a far cry from an advanced algorithm prepared to respond to any situation. This is just a GPS system with extra steps, and we already know how well that works. Alright, I've been criticizing Zoox for a while now, so in the spirit of fairness, I'll now offer some suggestions to help fix the shortcomings of this system. The way I see it, Zoox is set to operate in two main environments: dense urban areas and more spread out suburban areas. In dense urban areas, we run into the problem of scalability as we've seen before. So what if we somehow made the robo-taxis bigger, longer, added more doors and more seats, and a bigger engine so we can transport more passengers at once? We could run these mega-taxis on predetermined lines which could create a dense web across the city, providing equal service to everyone. Since we're following predetermined lines, we could even get rid of the large and heavy battery and put up some wires above the routes. On busier lines, we could even put the mega-taxis on rails to reduce friction, so we can make them even bigger into giga-taxis. On the busiest routes, we could even put them into tunnels on fully dedicated express lines and make the vehicles even larger, so the subterranean terra-taxis will be able to accommodate vast numbers of passengers. We could then run these lines all the way into the suburb, so people can use them for their commute. So this leaves us with the suburban Zoox robo-taxis. Our task is to get people to the mega, giga and terra taxi stations. But here we encounter the problem of safety and vandalism. Since the distances traveled here are relatively smaller and the streets are generally calmer, I propose shrinking down the robo-taxi significantly. Make it single seat, get rid of the roof and windows, have it roll on two wheels, and let passengers control it manually. I also propose a chain-operated pedal-based mechanism for manual propulsion. The engine, battery and self-driving systems are now unnecessary. We can get rid of those to cut costs. There you have it. Our affordable two-wheel individual light taxi is complete, ready to connect you to the network of mega, giga and terra taxis. And I'll be hurrying to the patent office with these so that no one will be able to steal my genius ideas never before conceived of by humanity. Thank you for watching. It feels good to have once again solved traffic. And don't forget, the first 100 people to use the code something at the link below will get 60% off Incogni, so do check it out. Big thanks to Incogni for sponsoring today's video, and I'll be seeing you next time.